Alright, this will be part 2 of what if Deku, was trained by the Seven Deadly Sins. Last time I left off after he completely demolished the, entrance exam. Okay? And after all the teachers were basically shocked about how OP he is, because that's kind of what he is. So Deku, he's gotten into UA, and it's now his first day. There's like a week in between, or 2 weeks in between, the exam and when he starts, but nothing interesting, just training. So he goes to school for the first day. And he's walking in, and yeah. So he gets into his class, and he sees a few people he saw at the entrance exams. But, nothing too remarkable. He also sees a boy named Bakugo that he recognizes. He just ignores him, though. He notices that said spiky-haired blonde boy is talking with this tall, tall-ish, not compared to Deku, but tall, dark bluish hair guy, and they're arguing about his legs on the top of the desk. Which Deku just thought, wow, don't they have better things to do? He then just is like, alright then. He switches his spirit sphere, kind of like King's. It's got that pillow mode. And our guy, Deku over here, is a very big fan of naps. And he decides to just take a nap, because it's what legends do. So a few minutes later, since Deku got here early, Aizawa came in, and there was a big ruckus that woke up Deku. And he doesn't like being woke up. Yeah, he looks up, thinking, oh, must have fell asleep. Wonder what time it is. Then looked at a clock in the front of the class and wondered, well, it is UA, but, like every school ever, all of the clocks are inaccurate as hell. But it looked sort of right, so he went with it, He's like, oh, okay. And I'm not gonna tell you the time. It's just morning, because I don't know the actual UA schedule. We'll just say it's like 8, so we don't have to get up as bloody early. It's like 8 something, or whatever. So yeah. So Deku, he wakes up yawning, notices Aizawa, and says, oh, that must be our teacher. Or we have a student that looks like they're in their mid-40s. I doubt Aizawa's that old, but he looks so fucking tired that it makes him look older. But yeah. Maybe late 30s. Yeah. But the dude's like, He then basically puts away this spirit sphere and just, he puts it back in his storage pocket dimension, or whatever you want to fucking call it. But he puts it back there and sits in his seat. still tired and trying to wake up. Deku's just looking at the front of the class, waiting for Aizawa to say something. And Aizawa was like, "It took you 8 seconds to shut the fuck up. So, that's a problem, people. You need to shut the fuck up faster. Because this is my class, and I run it how I want, and we're not going to be wasting our time waiting for you to shut up." So, he then says, pulling out a blue tracksuit, saying, "Everyone grab one of these and go to the changing rooms, or whatever, and then meet me out on the field." Deku got up yawning, saying, oh, okay, man. Not even gonna bother with complaining since there's really no point. And, yeah. So, Deku, he ends up, just going, changing. And, he's just too tired to do anything, so he's just, still half asleep. And he gets up to the field, pulls out his, spirit spear, and, makes it a pillow again. And has it floating, and just takes another nap. Aizawa is just watching this, pulls out his sleeping bag, and takes a nap as well. He approves. So, over the next 10 minutes, the rest of the group comes out. And they're, all are they sleeping? And is that pillow floating? The fuck? And, the answer to that is yes. And this noise woke up both Deku and Aizawa. Aizawa gives them all an annoyed stare, like they woke me up from my nap, but fuck, I have to teach, And he's like, "Alright, so we're gonna do some tests, and you get to use your quirk to see, who has potential." And then someone says something that they shouldn't, that's so fun. And Aizawa don't like that, and he's like, "Yeah, about that. Also, the last place will get kicked out from this class, And basically, the majority of the class, with a few exceptions, Deku, of course, Bakugo, because he's confident, same with Todoroki, and, a couple others, they aren't bringing up. The rest of the class is, for the most part. And they're like, "What the fuck?" "Are you even allowed to do that?" And he's like, "Yep, I am, so screw you, I don't care." And yeah. So, Deku, he's just given a ball and told to throw it. And Deku just looks at him and says, "Alright." He just floats up the ball, and then points a finger forwards, and then it just goes forwards really fast. And he ends up sending it out to the to orbit, actually. Since he's just that OP, you don't even have to try. And he's like, I can do this, and like this thing is gonna keep going indefinitely. So I think we all know what my score is. Is that what it says? Mm-hmm. Yeah, get back in line with the rest of them. Infinity. Is that what then says? You should all aspire to be like him. He's the strongest student we've ever had in UA, All Might included. He's stronger than every one of you put together. He's what you're supposed to... He's your goal, to become as strong as him. And the rest of them are just, like, dumbfounded because he got Infinity. And, like, Bakugo's, like, thinking it's a fluke because he's an overconfident bitch. You know, who thinks he's the best, but he's not. So he's like, yeah, that's just a fluke, and I could totally get Infinity, like, if I tried. And, Deku's like, laughing in his head, because he wasn't really trying all that much. He could have used a much more showy way, you know. Maybe, you know, brought out, like, one of the weapons, shot it with some magic, use an anti-gravity spell. But, you know, just controlling it, like, you know, how King does with shit. That just worked. Mm-hmm. Even better. So, yeah. So, Deku, he's, well, he's basically just demolishing the tests. There's no better word for it. Like, he's just dominating them, like, completely. He's gotten first in literally everything. You know, like, in speed, he's just fast as hell. You ever seen, like, really any of the members move? Like, you could, like, Meliodas, he can move faster than the eye, so can Escanor. Merlin can teleport, so he just pretty much teleported anyways. Like, the long jump, he can fucking fly. So, you know, like, pretty much everything, there's just nothing that can beat him, pretty much. Like, he's number one in everything. Like, I don't even need to explain. He's just OP, like, as fuck. So, the scores come, and Deku, he gets number one. Let's say Bakugo gets number two, and I don't know. Ida gets number three or something. I don't know. Give me someone else, but it doesn't matter. But yeah. And the person in last, a lot of people say Mineta, which isn't really, like, that good of a thing. You might be able to argue because of how short he is, but, like, Invisible Girl over here, she's just a normal person that you can't see. Like, she might as well be quirkless, you know, in this test. And, you know, she's not, like, physically, like, strong as hell like Deku is, you know, because that's shown. But, yeah, so I think she'd get last. And, yeah. Aizawa decides not to expel her. Just cause, you know, on a whim. And, yeah. So, he decides to, he decides that he'll, just expel them later if he feels like it. But, you know, whatever. and he really just wanted to expel that little that midget, but since he got like second to last, he won't, and whatever. But yeah, so he's just, whatever, I don't care. So Invisible Girl gets to stay, and yeah, so that's pretty much the only eventful thing. There's just normal classes after that. And yeah. So they go home, and let's say 2 days from then, you know, as I was teaching class, nothing eventful's happened yet. And All Might comes running in, and says, that line, I don't quite remember. Like, coming through the door like a hero, or whatever. And Deku just looks at him with a blank ass stare, like, really? Really? This is what. Oh my god, this is just sad, Like, he's just cringing. Like, on the inside, it's like, yikes. And, yeah. So, Deku. Yeah, he's just, like, cringing, just, like, along with a couple other people, but most of them are like, holy shit, it's All Might. Which is valid, but really, it's kind of weird, But yeah. So, Deku, he's just happy that they're having a teacher, actually being taught. He likes Aizawa because he doesn't teach anything, but, he's getting kind of bored, which kind of happens, when you're OP. But, you gotta live with it. So, yeah. Anyways. So, yeah. All Might, he decides. Well, it's the normal hero costume scene. And let me see if I can find something for Deku. Alright, so this is kind of what, like, his hero costume is. It's kind of mysterious, because that's kind of what he's going for. And, yeah. So, Deku, he, puts this on and goes to the area. And is just waiting for everyone else. And, yeah. So, he's just waiting, and, it's like, give it like 5 minutes, and then pretty much everyone else is there. 5-10 minutes, And, yeah. So Deku, he's just waiting for instructions, and All Might says, alright, good. Now that everyone's here, we'll split you up into teams of 2. Then you'll each be designated as a hero or villain team. And then there will be 5 matches with 1 hero team and 1 villain team going up against each other. The villain team will have to guard a bomb or capture the heroes to win. They only have to guard the bomb for 15 minutes. The heroes will either have to capture both the villains or touch the bomb in the 15 minutes allotted. And yeah. Any questions? And nope, because it's a pretty basic explanation. And I can't think of any questions, But yeah. So it's kind of like that. And they're like, alright. I don't see why Deku being OP would change the teams. So, I mean, I could to try and make it more balanced, but really, there's no point. Like, All Might and All for One wouldn't, like, they wouldn't beat him. I mean, OP. That's kind of the point. Anyways, Sudeku, he's just, going through. The plan is like, I'ma just walk through the building and beat the crap out of the two of them. And yeah. No plan past that necessary. If we find the bomb, we find it. You know? Because Dagger's like, I don't need to tell her that I can just go through their memories if I find them. Who needs to know that? So the 5 minutes of planning and setup for the villains is up, and Deku and Uraraka go in and split up. Deku finds Bakugo about 2 minutes in from, maybe the loud explosions, just maybe. And he shoots his arrow into Bakugo to find his memory. He sees it's on the 4th floor, in this one room. It's like, alright then. Deku then uses his Spirit Sphere. He puts it on increase, second form. There's hundreds of the mini knives. He puts about 20 around Bakugo so he'll stop moving, and just shut up. And then he uses the rest to blast through the floors, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, respectively. Goes right next to the bomb and touches it. And in all of this time, Ida, he was up there, but he was like, what the fuck? Before, anything. Before he could do anything. And that's how the heroes won, because Deku's OP. And, yeah. So, Deku, he's just going around, he's finished, and, he puts back the Spirit Sphere into the pillow form and goes back to the area, taking a nap on it. And that's how that went. All the other matches are irrelevant and the same. So, yeah. So, yeah. Let's see here. I think the USJ is after this. Anyways. So, about a week later, the USJ is announced. Actually, we'll say 2 weeks later, alright? It's announced it's going to be at the end of next week, So they're like, yay, training. And it's not like they weren't being trained, it's just, it wasn't anything as eventful. But yeah. So they go and, they get the permission slips signed and shit. And, we'll time skip to when it happens. So it is the USJ now, and Deku, he senses something. Something ominous. Something evil. And he wonders what it is. He thinks that it's demonic, but he can't tell. So he ends up going in first, regardless of, Aizawa saying not to. Deku says he senses something, and that it's probably nothing, but if not, you're probably going to want to stay back. And, Aizawa, he's seen Deku's skills first person. He, uh, he knows that if Deku's kind of, being cautious, then, like, there could be a problem. And Deku, he gets in there and he sees a little portal. And he sees a bunch of people coming out of it. And he also sees this big black bird at the back next to this one guy with hands all over him for whatever reason. And Deku just uses his spear increase to knock out or incapacitate all the villains, pretty much. And he then uses it and he stabs the Nomu in hundreds of places. And, Aizawa, he's near the front, so he can kind of see, like, what's going on inside of there. And he's like, what the fuck, dude? Did you just kill that? Deku said it's not human. And I wouldn't even consider it alive. And he said, alright then. And Deku then walked forwards to the hand guy and says, what was your purpose of coming here? Shigaraki tries to, grab Deku, but Deku evades him. He asks again. And this time, he's basically putting Shigaraki in a hold, pretty much. Where, Shigaraki, he's not, like, gonna be able to use his hands, since Deku gathered that his quirk's something to do with hands. Maybe it's from him trying to grab him, but maybe it's from all the hands on his fucking body. A little creepy. Just saying. And he basically restrains him, so yeah. And Deku has gloves on his thing anyways, so it's not like even if Shigaraki touched him, it would instantly be a problem, because he has no exposed skin. He'd have to touch him for like a good full second, which ain't gonna happen. To get through the skin, get through the suit and then to his skin, but yeah. Anyways, so Deku, he's like, really? Shigaraki says then to this mist guy that Deku's knives went through, for whatever reason, to bring out him. The man covered in mist then says, alright. Then out of the portal, suddenly Deku is punched. And you can see this tall suit of armor with this spear type thing. He then says, really? You needed me for such a small fry? Deku then gets up, laughing, having taken no damage as his darkness activated, since he is technically a high-ranking demon at this point. Same with angels, but He then laughs and says, so you're what I sensed. Aizawa was about to step in when Deku said, don't step in or you'll die. Aizawa then pauses, since he then resolves to himself that he'll step in if Deku looks like he's losing. And Deku then says, so, who are you? This armored thing then announced itself. I am Galland of Truth, one of the 10 Commandments. At your service. And Deku said, oh, isn't that fun? Deku then pulls out Divine Axe Rita and he uses sunshine, as he didn't want to, worry about losing to a demon. So he wasn't gonna hold back all that much. He wasn't activating the one to its fullest extent, since he didn't want to destroy the entire USJ, just like half of it. And Galen says, "Oh, what are you gonna do with that axe? I'm so scared." And Deku said, "Oh, you'll see. This thing weighs millions of pounds." And Galen laughed and said, "Ha, you just told a lie. Now you'll turn to stone." And Deku smiled and said, "I know what the 10 Commandments are, and I'm not foolish. This axe is millions of pounds." And Galen said, "That's impossible. This thing must not be working." What the hell? Since, there's no way that axe can be millions of pounds. Right? Wrong. Galen then says, "Alright then," and readies himself to fight. Deku also readies himself. He starts by by going in to stab Deku. Deku dodges and then slashes at him with the axe. It misses, unfortunately. Galen managed to back away fast enough. Galen thought he dodged my strike and managed to counterattack. I better take this seriously. Activating his magical ability, Maximum Overdrive, making him over twice as strong. Making him at least 10 times stronger. Which is a lot. I don't think it's that much in the anime, but it's either 15 times or I think it's 15 times stronger, but I'm not sure. I don't remember. But it makes him a lot stronger. And he's like, "Well, you may be strong for a kid, but there's no way you could defeat a demon." And, he's changed his appearance to spikes. Basically just the same thing, but with spikes all over him. And bigger. Not that difficult to imagine. But yeah. So he activated this, and Deku thought in the back of his head, "Oh, activating, going all out already, are we? I wasn't even at half capacity." And, Deku then decides, "Alright then, I shouldn't play with this type of enemy." Then activating Sunshine. He makes 3 large suns. One behind Galen, one to his left, and one to his right, with Deku being directly in front of him. He also made one above him, just in case. And Galen said, "Oh, pulling out all the stops." And Deku laughed, confidently, like Escanor, thinking, "Oh, how little you know." Deku then activates the ability. He starts dashing towards Galen and sends all of the suns, basically, going right towards Galen. And at this point, parts of the ground and parts of the USJ are melting. And outside, as I was, telling them all to fucking run, there's no reason for them to be there unless they're, suicidal. Since, newsflash, Deku is stronger than All Might. You can't do shit. I don't give a fuck who you are. The only one who could is Aizawa, that's assuming that Galen's ability is a quirk, which, spoiler, it is not. But yeah. So, Deku, he's, fighting Galen. They're exchanging blows. And, the Suns start rushing towards him. And Galen was so busy with Deku that he didn't notice. And, he started feeling warm. And then thought, shit, I forgot about those. And he tried to dodge by, ducking, by going down, but Deku didn't allow him to, and grabbed him. And all 4 of the Suns hit. Deku was fine, as it was his ability. Galen, not so much. Galen got up, thinking, holy shit. He'd been torn to pieces and his darkness put him back together. Deku laughed and said, you know how darkness works, right? It may absorb the damage, but you still take it. And you're gonna have to take that sooner or later. Deku then started to stabbed him with his spear. And Galen dodged backwards, thinking, holy shit, this kid just stabbed one of my hearts directly in the middle. How the fuck would he know where it is? Maybe it's luck. And Deku, he laughs and says, I know how to kill a demon. But let's see how you think this'll work. It's like, I know that I'll defeat you, but do you think do you even think you have a chance right now? Because you'd be wrong if you thought you did. And, so Deku, he's just laughing in his head, since, he's just trying to scare the shit out of Galen. And he uses his, one of Gother's abilities, Nightmare Arrow, showing him basically him killing him a lot of times, in different ways. And Deku, he then stabs another heart while he's in this trance, another and another. And when he's down to only 1 heart, since upper level demons have 7, when he's down to only 1, he ends up waking up out of pain. And Deku says, you're now down to only 1 heart. Isn't that fun? I would be careful if I were you. So, because if you aren't, you'll die. And you're basically not immortal anymore. Deku laughs, and then another person steps out of the portal. It was this girl. And she said, I'm not fond for talking, so let's just fight. She noticed Galen had quite a bit of damage taken. She had also looked and saw that 6 of his hearts were gone. She thought, what type of fucking monster is this to be able to do this to one of ours? I mean, Galen is one of the weaker ones, but still. Deku laughed, and she put him in this darkness. He activated the sunshine ability once more, and broke free from it, out of complete brute force, slamming the sunshine into her, burning the shit out of her. Really. Deku then ran back to the man in armor, stabbing his last heart, killing him. gallon of truth was no more. And, so, he had killed Gallon the Truth, and she has now been scarred. Deku then decides that he should finish her off as well. But before he could, she escaped. Deku then thought, oh well, I still got one of them. Now there's only 9 left. That'll be pretty easy to deal with. And, Deku then just went back out and said, alright, we're not going to be doing training here today since I pretty much fucked this place up. And, it's basically the USJ, but really fucking melted. And yeah. It's like melted, most of it is melted. Like, to be honest. Like that lake area, nope. It's like a small puddle. Alright? Maybe a pond. But a very small pond. Yeah, it's pretty much just fucked up. That thing is not repairable. Like, it would cost so much. And Deku's then he does something that looks, he takes this man and absorbs something from him. It looks like a black bubble with some sort of symbol in it, but you couldn't quite make it out from a distance. Deku knew exactly what this was. He decided to save it for later, and he'd keep it in a special spot. Same with Gallon's body. He put it in his pocket dimension and left. And, yeah. And, yes, I'm putting in the 10 Commandments, because with Deku being this insanely overpowered, what the fuck else could there be to entertain you? Like, what am I supposed to say? He, kills all for one, first try, no strings attached, no difficulties? Like, nah. And, yeah. So, Deku, he goes back, and yeah. So, he arrives now, and, basically, the whole place is fucked up, so there's really nothing for him to do. Like, most of the villains, a few of them were warped out, but most of them weren't. Most of them were lucky enough to be off to the side, but a few of them may have been melted, but, can't penalize Deku for that, because there's no proof that they were melted, because they were also evaporated. And if you ask me, it's worth it to kill one of the 10 Commandments. But yeah. So yeah, Deku, he's like, alright, I killed one of them, and that means the rest of them are fucking here. Isn't that lovely? So, Deku, he went back and basically took a nap, more or less. When the police were trying to question him, he's like, yeah, there was this big guy, and I had to fight him, and he wasn't human, and then blah, blah, blah. And, Deku, he's just like, whatever, and takes a nap, because he don't give a fuck, because he's a legend. Alright? So, yeah. Deku, he's just not, giving a fuck. Not at all. But, yeah. So, yeah. Deku, he's, basically just ready to go and go home, you know, and that's what he does. So time skip about two-ish weeks, and, school is now, resumed. They had a break, because, they still were attacked, but, they kept that hush-hush. They were like, yeah, we had, there was an accident, a training accident, and it destroyed one of the facilities that we need for training. So basically, time off because we're working on construction, and that affects the rest of the school for whatever reason. You know? So yeah. And Deku's like, alright then. So after the 2 weeks, Deku was basically just training there. It's announced that the sports festival will come soon, and Deku's laughing in his head, like, gonna demolish every one of them. And, yeah. So, Deku, he's happily, just waiting for that, because he's like, yeah, I'm gonna be OP. Just like always. And, yeah. So Deku, he goes, we'll just time skip to it. So it's the first round, alright? It's an obstacle course. And of course, it's Deku. And I really don't need to say anything else, really, but Deku is, OP, alright? And that's pretty much all the explanation you need. He instantly flies, well, no, he just teleports to the end of it. Like, you cannot beat this man. His score, he beat it in 0.000001 seconds. So, I'm just saying, like, you cannot defeat this man. Like, he's just too OP. And, he gets first place, of course, because no one else can do it faster. And, yeah. I'm surprised in all of UA there's no teleportation quirks, Because, like, in the anime, they don't have a single person just teleport to the fucking end. So, I mean, like, there might be someone with a teleportation quirk, but nothing really powerful. Just some weak version that you can only teleport a certain amount. But I doubt it. I mean, they did say warp quirks were rare, but not teleport quirks. I'm just saying. But yeah. So Deku, he teleports to the end, gets first, takes a nap on his pillow, waits for everyone to finish, And then the next one, the cavalry battle, is explained, and Deku laughs and asks Midnight if he needs a team, if he can just float on his own. And she says, I guess. And Deku, he just floats on his pillow, way above everyone else, and just waits for the thing to be over. Shooting down people with his chastity full whenever they try to get close to him. Bakugo tried to use his explosions to get up, he just got a bonk on the frickin' head. And I was just laughing at it, because he just fell right down. And it was hilarious. Like, face first and everything. So yeah, Deku won that as well. Now it's on to the third round. I don't really remember exactly who Deku's with. I think it's Shinso first. I know Shinso's first. But is there someone between him and Todoroki? I'm not sure. Whatever. So, Deku versus Shinso. Shinso says, it must be nice being born with such a nice quirk. Deku laughs in his face. Like, he laughs so hard. Like, bro, you were freaking hilarious. Nah. He then shoots a beam in Shinso's head of what his life was like before he got his power. And Shinso was like, oh shit. I didn't know. Deku finally stops laughing, is like, yeah, whatever. Not everyone's born with their power. The truly strong work for it, rather than just are born for it, with it. You know, people aren't born powerful. They become powerful, you know? We ain't seeing a frickin' toddler standing up to All Might. Nah. So, you know, Shinso then just basically walks out on his own. And, you know, he's like, I don't even know what to do here, so he just left. And Deku then went back to his seat. He just flew to it and just took a nap on his thing. About 30 minutes later, Deku's being jostled awake by one of his classmates. And they're like, dude, they're calling your name, you know. And Deku's like, oh, okay. He then floats down and sees Todoroki and thinks, oh, that's interesting. Actually, no, we'll say he sees Monoma, alright? I want Monoma to get shit on. Alright? And Monoma, he gets shit on, basically. Like, he tries to touch Deku, and Deku's just laughing at him and laughing at him. And he just hits him with the pillow really hard and pushes him out with it and laughs. You know, and this only took like a minute. It was just Monoma struggling against the freaking pillow, and it was hilarious. And Deku was just laughing. And a good bit of the crowd was too. And yeah, after that, Monoma just got pushed out, and Deku won. Then we'll say, you know, he took another short nap. Then the finals, Deku versus Bakugo. All right. And Deku, he just waits, you know, he just lets Bakugo do his thing and just waits up in the sky, bonking him with Chastity Full again when he tries to get him. And this happens 2 or 3 times, and, you know, then Bakugo out of frustration yells, come and fight me like a man, you know, come down here and fight me. Are you scared? Deku, then a bit of Escanor taking over here. You know, he that little bit of extra pride there that was insulted. You know, he's not always like this, but, you know, sometimes. And he's like, He then gets this nice smile. He uses magic to make explosions and says, I'm gonna beat you with your own quirk. You know, I don't even need a quirk to beat you. I can just bop, and then you'll be out. But, you know, he then beats Bakugo with his own quirk, like, easily, showing way more proficiency in it than Bakugo is in his own quirk. And it's only one of Deku's things. So, you know, he's just laughing. He's like, I told you not to try and fight me. Like, I tried to let you just walk out on your own, but you didn't. And that's on you, man. So, Deku won the festival. He gets his medal, and yeah. His mom was watching it on TV, and he's like, you know, happy that Deku won, and yeah. So Deku, he goes back home, and yeah. So for internships, let's say, oh, I don't know. Night Eye. Put him at. Since it's like Gran Torino, he doesn't really have any connection with him. You know. Deku also, you know, other than just having no connection with, like, all for, like, One for All and All Might, you know, no Gran Torino. But Night Eye is kind of interested in him, and so is Mirio, so he goes there. He also got, you know, invitations from pretty much every hero. Like, everyone wants him to work at their agency. Like, he's OP, so it's understandable, you know. But yeah. So thank you. He just basically waits for he just you know, waits for the next day, goes in, they pick out hero names. Deku just goes with he just goes with 7. It's just why? Just cause I can. And I can't think of a name. Anyone who wants to give a suggestion is very much welcome to. I'm horrible at naming things. So, you know, go ahead and do that. But yeah. He chooses the hero name 7 and chooses to go with Night Eye. And yeah. So that's what he's gonna do. I'm not gonna cover internships because I'm hungry and I want to eat something. To be honest. But I'll end this part off here and post it right now. You know, any suggestions? Happy to have them. Anyways, goodbye. I think it was less than a week since I posted the first part, so yeah. Art's not mine. I can't find a watermark here, so you know, art's not mine. I don't know whose it is, sadly, but you know. Oh well. Anyways, thanks for watching. What if Deku was trained by the 7 Deadly Sins, Part 2. And goodbye.